Thank you everyone for joining us today. We're going to take a look at some of the factory design utilities that are a part of the product design and manufacturing collection, and they run on top of Inventor and AutoCAD. So as Ms. Ashley mentioned there, you guys are in listen only mode, and your questions can be asked here on the questions panel. And Mr. Gary will go through those throughout the presentation, and we'll have a Q&A session at the end as well. So why are we discussing factory tools? Well, as we talk with clients, vendors, customers, users of the software, a lot of the questions they ask us are, how can we improve product quality, production efficiency? How can we get new layout equipment lines out to customers for approval faster? What about new product variants? How can we make changes of those quickly? And that's where factory design utilities come in very handy. And that is, there are system assets built in, excuse me, built into the software. We can add our own assets into the library so that we can quickly place those, and we can share those with everyone, so everyone's working off the same asset library for quickly laying out new equipment and new products. Whether it's components, whether it's assemblies, they're all there and everyone has access to them. So factory design utilities is a very robust solution. So depending on the goals of what we're trying to do, whether it's just a quick layout, a new layout, or are we trying to see if we throw the existing beams and columns and machinery of a plant site, put that into a model, can we get our new equipment down through this area? Can we do collision detection? Can we make sure we can fit everything through here without having to move any existing equipment? Or if we can't move this, we have to go another way. Or do we have to separate our assembly down into smaller sub-assemblies and then do more installation and fitting there on site? And so those types of digital walkthroughs and 3D prototyping, all of that comes into play from the 3D models. And that's where factory utilities comes in, because we can use those assets to quickly lay out equipment, whether we're putting in columns, rectangular beams, or patterns, whether it's fans, whether it's blowers, whether it's conveyors, whether it's platforms, mezzanines, ladders, any of those equipment assets available there in the system assets browser, as well as we can download our own cloud assets and we can publish our own assets. So as we'll break this down just a little bit, when we start looking at the plan, design, and validation phases, several tools there inside the FDU or factory design utilities that will help. The 3D walkthroughs, especially if you've been working exclusively with 2D AutoCAD or just sketches to lay this out. Now with a click of a button, we can take the 2D over to the 3D side and open it up in Inventor. If we've got access to a laser scan or vendors that do laser scanning for us, we don't have to send someone out to the shop floor with a measuring tape. We can just go scan it, and then we can incorporate that data directly into our 3D model. And then we can do that analyzation and visualizing and send that back to the clients and show them this is what it's going to look like before we ever get to the 2D drafting side of things, laying out drawings. Then we can do analyze material flow inside of AutoCAD. If we've got machine stations, we're trying to go from one area to another area there. As we step it up to the last two on the operate and the build side, this is where we get into more on the project management type, the installation side, the maintenance side, operation costs. So identifying interferences is critical to that. Can we get everything in there? If we're scheduling the installation of the equipment using Microsoft Project or even Excel, we can import that data right into Navisworks, which is another part of the product design and manufacturing collection that works with the factory design utilities. And then on the operating side, none of this works without managing that data properly. So as we're coming back to this overall view here just for 1 second, FDU or factory design utilities, they can take us all the way from the planning through the design side, validation, flash detection, design review, on the build side, progress monitoring, site management, all the way through the operating side for maintenance. And all of that is included in that PDMC or product design and manufacturing collection. So now let's start over here on the software side. We're going to start with AutoCAD. and we're going to do a short little, or a quick little 2D layout here of some system assets, and then with a click of a button, we're going to take that right over to Inventor. So I've just got a brand new drawing here, and even if we will just start a new one here as well, start a brand new one right here. Get the grid off of there. So wide open drawing, brand new. We're just going to start looking at some system assets here. Now we have a search area here that we can utilize. And if you're looking and going, where do we get this? Why do I not have this? Well, once factory design utilities are installed, then inside AutoCAD, and I have AutoCAD Mechanical open here, there's a factory tab up here on the ribbon menu. Now, factory utilities, they have been around since the 2012 release of the software. So they've been out for over 10 years now, since we're working with 2023. And so you may have seen it before, may have used it before, may have not seen it before, may not realize it was part of the product design and manufacturing collection, but this is what it looks like on the 2D AutoCAD side. So on the factory browser, or the factory ribbon, on the tools panel, under palettes, we have asset browser, we have factory properties, and that's what these two right here are. So the asset browser, this shows all of the system assets that are available, as well as cloud assets that Autodesk has published that we can download. And then our factory properties, once we select an asset, it will display the properties that were published with that asset as far as parameters go. Description, title, part number, things like that, length and width, if those were part of the publishing. So underneath system assets, right here, we have architectural, automotive, building utilities, material handling, conveying, robot, safety equipment. So we're going to take a look at a conveyor here. And underneath the conveyor folder, we have all these different types of conveyors. And so let's just grab a chain conveyor. And underneath chain conveyors, we have curves, which will come in as 90 degree or 180 degree curves, and we can edit those to any angle. We have inclines, we have spirals, we have straight sections, we have merging sections, and we have straight bottle chain conveying sections. So we have all these different options. Well, when I'm working on the AutoCAD side, I like to use any of them that have the word chain beside them when I can, because I can just draw a polyline and then convert that polyline to that asset via the convert asset chain button. And so we'll do that right here to start with. So we're just going to grab a chain right here for the chain conveyor, and I'm just going to pick some point. And as we start going through this here, and we'll zoom out a little bit, and we will say, let's make this 500 long. And so just a big polyline is all that looks like, just a big block. Well, right here on the ribbon menu, I've got a convert asset chain button. And so I'm going to say, let's convert this guy, grab it, select it, and then very quickly, it's going to take that polyline that we just drew and convert it to this chain conveyor section. And so we're going to get several sections here. The black ones, those are standard sections. And so if I select this section here and look at the factory properties panel, I'm going to see that the length is 78 inches. That's the default length that this one was published. Then I've got a few others here, and I'll grab those, and those are all 78 inches as well. Then if I grab this section that is in red, it's 32. So it adjusted that section for me based off the length of the line that I drew. Now, if I grab a straight chain conveyor right here, and I come in here, I can just snap those together right there using those little green dots. Those are what we call connector points. And I can put those right there, and it just keeps going. If I want to make a curve, come in here, and I can snap my curve right there. And then I can come right here and snap my curve right there. And so I can change this direction with it as well. So now we've just created a small little section. We put a turn on it. We can search for something if we wanted to search for a safety fence. Just search for a safety fence. And then under a search results, we get the same thing here. So here I've got a safety fence chain. And so I'll just grab a line right here and just draw those two right there. And then I want to convert these as well. And so it's going to take this polyline and convert it as well to the 2D asset of the safety chain. And again, the black, the ones that come in black with the black layer or black coloring will be standard sections. The one that come in red will be non-standard, where they have edited those. So now I've drawn 2 polylines, placed a couple of other components here, but then I've converted these assets. So now we're going to sync this over to Inventor. So we're going to click Open in Inventor. It's going to say, hey, you've got to save this. So yes, we will. And where we want to put it, let's call this one Test 5. How about that? So it's going to open Inventor for me very quickly. And we'll see a style conflict here, which is fine. And I'm going to say OK. And then it's going to start the assembly model. And here we go with the 2D flat layout. And then it starts populating the 3D model here as well. And so then very quickly, it'll take that 2D model and convert it to this 3D model right here. And so now I've got the representation of that chain conveyor and that representation of this safety fence. All of these are listed here in my model browser inside of Inventor on my left. And then I've got the same factory properties browser and the asset browser here in Inventor. I just have them flip-flop, top and bottom here. But as I select this one here, it is 78. As I select this smaller one right here, it is 32. So it allows me to bring all of these in. Now, from the Inventor side here, I can just start snapping and placing these just as I did earlier in the AutoCAD side. So if we come in here and say, let's grab a straight conveyor section. And now we'll get a little more animated on the snapping because we're working with the 3D side now. But as you see, we just want to bring these in. We'll snap those together, and we can make this as crazy looking as we want or as accurate, depending on the information that we have. So in our asset browser, we have all of these different options as far as conveyors. Then we get into architecturals, and we've got structural underneath it. We've got catwalks. We've got circular grid columns. We've got rectangular columns. If we know we've got to bring in a beam column that we've got to work around, that we want to bring some new machinery in, do some new equipment layout around some existing stuff we can bring in. So we'll just place this. Now, if we know where this is supposed to be, if we have an existing XYZ, we have iProperties on this, where we can come in here and we can go to the iProperties and we'll say we want to know that, or we know that this guy here is supposed to be at -300 and this one's supposed to be at 450. And so we will adjust that right there. It's going to move it right there. Now, being on the Inventor side, I'll go ahead and ground it. And that way it can't move. And now we can see where we're working, we've got an issue right here. So where I drew this right now, it's just kind of free floating because I didn't tie it down to any X, Y, or Z. But we can see now if the beams are accurate, if we have accurately located those, then our equipment here has to be moved. So now I can just grab any one of these and I can move this around wherever I want it to go. Just kind of snap it around. Now, the grid that you're seeing here on the floor, you can hold down the control key, and as you are moving a component, see it snap there, it'll snap to the corners of that grid. So if I am trying to get it precise to a specific spot, I can do that. Now, if I want to take this right back to AutoCAD, I have a button called Open in AutoCAD, and it'll sync it right back to the AutoCAD side. I can use all of my different views here in Inventor. So I've got the top view of the view cube. So I can square this up, and then I can, so you know what? It's this one right here that we actually wanted to move. And we want to locate this guy to right there. Let it snap to that side. And so now it's right here. We're still clear of our columns. We can do the same thing as far as moving our safety rail here. Grab that, I can move that. Now, it's wanting to snap these dots together. We don't want it to do that. So we're just going to place it right in there and let it update. Now I see, oh, I'm gonna be running it right into this beam, or maybe that's where it's supposed to go. Maybe that beam was the cutoff for it to keep someone away from it. So very quickly, we can relocate this, we can move it in there, we can add to it. I've got a couple of other existing assemblies here where I place components with identical lines. This one is a double section. So we've got a top section and then a lower, smaller section with the smaller area coming through here. So all of these assets are available. And if we get into if we get to where we're looking at one and maybe it has not been downloaded yet, and it's a cloud asset, maybe it hasn't been downloaded, but we want to work with it, you can right click and say download asset, or if you double click on it, it's going to tell you it has to be downloaded at that point. We can search for robots, and then we can see any of the robots that are available here. And I can stretch this down so we can see there's controllers. There will be 6-axis robots, 7th-axis robots, and so the green check mark means it's been downloaded. The white one here means it has not. So you hover over it, you'll see right click to download before using, or you can just drag it over here and it'll say, hey, it must be downloaded. Do you want to download it? We'll say yes, and then very quickly it will download. Now, if you're in a folder and you know you want to download everything, you can just right click on the folder, and this even works on the search side, and just say download assets, and it will download all the assets at one time for you. But once we get a asset downloaded, then we can bring in a additional piece here, and let's square this up a little bit, and we'll just drop this machinery right here. Now, once you place it, you have the ability to rotate it, and you can come back at any time and rotate it as well. And so we'll just rotate this one here 90 degrees, and we'll say okay. And now, see that green dot right there? That means we can snap a robot to this. So if I wanted to bring this in, I could bring this robot in. Now, this specific asset has a dome on it that shows the reach of the arm. So as I place this one in here, I can see just how far of a reach I have with my new robot that I placed. And again, everything is kept over here in the model browser. Every component that we placed in is automatically constrained to the floor, whether it's on the AutoCAD side or on the Inventor side. Now, if we needed to lay in ductwork, anything overhead, electrical trays, we can do that as well. And so we have duct sections that we can put in here, a fan duct or just a regular duct, or we can look under the structural side. Under building utilities and under duct. And then under the square duct, we have circular to square transitions. We have branches, we have offsets, reducers, vertical, horizontal, all of these are in here. So if we just grab a straight section, and let me take a look here, it's going to show this up in the air. All right, so as I place this, and just accept it right here, and then we will grab this section here, we will look at it, and we will see that the length, the width, so it is currently sitting here at 70 inches. So if we know we wanted to change this from 70 to 144, we'll just change that 70 to 144, and then it updates right there to 144. Now, if we come over here and we look at this in the browser, we'll notice that it is constrained to the floor, okay, right there. So there's our straight section. We've got it snapped to the floor, but it's got the offset built in. Now, when this model was published, it was published with an elevation offset. So these assets can be published where they sit square on the floor, where they sit in the air at an elevation. And then as we start adding to this, whether we put an elbow in here or not, as we just start adding, and zoom out where I can snap to it right there. As we start adding to this, and nothing beats airflow like turning it twice right there. So as we start changing this, anything that's connected So in this case here, it's 8 inches. So we're going to change this to a 14-inch height. And any connecting point that is connected there with that will update as well. So as I change that one, the others downstream have to update. So there's intelligence built in. So if we come back over here to this assembly we started with earlier, and we'll just grab one of these sections here, and we'll look at this one, and we'll see that the height of this one is 30 inches. Well, if we say the height of that one is now supposed to be 42, change the angle a little bit, type in 42, hit enter, and we'll just sit back and let this run for just a second, and then the entire conveying assembly there will update to 42, and there it goes. And so everything that is connected has the intelligence built in. So if you change one, it goes to the other. Now, as far as conveying goes, while we're looking here, let's come to this guy here, and we'll just grab a belt one, and we'll grab a incline. And we'll just place this incline over here first, and we'll take a look at it. The lower height is 30, the upper height is 78. It is sitting with a 28-inch width. If we look at this guy, it is 28 wide, 78 high, 42 is the height, or 78 length, 42 is the height. So we know this one is now sitting at 30. It's a different type, but we're just going to drag it over here and connect those dots. If it will snap, and that safety rail may be in the way. And if it is in the way, that's fine. We have a connect button right here. So we'll connect this one to this one, and we'll let those update. And now we take a look at the properties. It has updated. It is now 42. And so it doesn't have to be the same type. So any of these components that we attach together, in this case, we've got a belt conveyor and a chain conveyor, and we put those together and we update one, the height on the others update as well. If we come in now and we say we want to add a straight component, and we just start adding in a couple of the straight components here, they're coming in, they're picking up the same 78-inch height here. Depending on how they're published, in this case here, these two components were published where you could show all legs or no legs. And so we'll say, let's don't show the legs there. And so maybe this is where we have to have an overhead clearance or no clearance so that we can get a forklift through here or a safety machine through here or something. And then we bring another component in right here. We snap it there. And now by default, the legs show up. And so now we've got an opening here where we could drive through machinery. Speaking of forklifts, we could search for one here, and we can see we have a forklift. And so we can place it here on the floor. We can change here, and if this is one of our assets, we can see that we cannot get this through here. So we were going to have a collision. So we will just edit one of these conveyor sections. So we'll select this one here. It's 78. Let's change that to a 120. Oh, I changed the length, not the height. Let's change the height to a 120. And let it update these other three as well. There we go. So now we have clearance to go in there. So I will change that back to a 78. And so now we've adjusted this very quickly on the fly. And so this is how we can change variants. And so if we know we're going to reuse this section here, so we can just copy and paste this section somewhere else. And now maybe this section here, which is set at 28 inches wide, this other section we're going to use somewhere for larger material or larger boxes or whatever it is. Maybe this one needs to be 40 wide. So we'll just change the width of this one to 40, and it'll update right downstream with these three pieces as well. And so now I've got one that is set here at 28 wide and one that is 40 wide. And so very easy to manipulate and work with the models, very easy to change the properties and update downstream, very easy to place these. And again, all of this is included inside the product design and manufacturing collection. we can sync these right back to AutoCAD. If we are going to look at collision detection, we can transfer this over and open it in Navisworks and look at collision detection as well and import our Microsoft project scheduling information. So a lot of potential, a lot of possibilities there on the product design manufacturing collection, including the factory design utilities. So with that, we will flip it over to some Q&A and see if I've confused anyone or if there's any questions we can answer. And I don't see any questions, so either everyone is asleep or we've done a decent job of explaining this today. If you are unsure where to download the factory design utilities, that can be found inside your Autodesk account, the manage.autodesk.com website. They can also be found inside the Autodesk desktop app. So if you have the factory design utilities assigned to your account, they will be listed in here inside the Autodesk desktop app, where all of your assigned products are, or down here at the bottom, you can select the Access My Complete list and it will open it up in the Autodesk Accounts website as well. So Terry has a question there. Where does the theory of constraints get involved? So when we are publishing assets, we assign the offsets so that if we know we wanted to publish flat to the floor, we assign it flat to the floor. If we want to give it an offset, we offset it. And that is the only one that gets assigned during asset publishing. And then after that, we can use traditional constraints to locate it to a specific XY location or to a specific grounded point. So in this situation, I could have constrained any one section of the conveyor to be offset from a specific beam that I had grounded, 24 foot, 6 foot, whatever it is, and it would adhere to that. And so we do want to locate those so they're not just free floating, but the user gets to control where they're going to be as well. Another question is the factory utilities for AutoCAD or mechanical only. It'll work with both. I just happen to have mechanical open today, but it works with AutoCAD and AutoCAD mechanical. Michael asks, how can we find out more about the asset library? As far as what's included, I believe there is a white paper on the Autodesk.com website. Just select products and look at the factory design utilities, and it will list out the different vendors that have supplied equipment for those assets. Some of them are generic, just push through assets. There's people that you can place just to have someone show in there for a walkthrough, but some of them are specific as far as ABB robots go, equipment, point cloud data, things like that. So determining bottlenecks to the factory flow from Terry. I think that's the follow-up on his first question there, is as far as constraints go. So if we're doing the 3D side, is it far as using the machinery, moving them around, like the boxes going through the conveyors, or if it's on the AutoCAD side, if we're looking at material flow, we can assign stations to specific areas. So the conveyor station is moving so many units per minute with a robot. The packaging station is moving so many units per hour, but it's a human packaging, and so that one slows down. So we can do factory flow as far as material optimization goes on the AutoCAD side. That is built in.